Have you ever heard the name Andrew Urdiales? Many people have not, but he was a serial killer who grew up in Illinois and was convicted of killing 3 women in Illinois and 5 in California. One of his victims was able to escape and is now telling her story in a book that she's written and is part of a new A&E show called I Survived a Serial Killer. Joining us now to talk about the show and her story is Jennifer Asbenson. Good morning to you, Jennifer. Thank you so much for joining me this morning.
Good morning. You're welcome.
Well, we've been told you were the only survivor of an attack by this serial killer. Tell us how you met him and what happened to you.
I met him when I really needed a ride to work, and I was told I was going to be fired if I missed the bus anymore because I had just moved out into a new apartment. I couldn't figure out how to get to work anymore because I wasn't using my parents' car anymore. And I kind of thought he was a godsend when he pulled up and asked if I needed a ride, which sounds naive, but back then there were no Ubers, there were probably cabs,
Yeah.
but
And you were
out here
19.
in the desert,
You were
rare.
19 years old, right?
I was 19. Yeah, I was 19. I was really innocent and trusting of people, and his
then what
intention
happened?
his intention at first was not even to hurt me. He wanted to bring me to breakfast the next morning, so he didn't do anything to me. He brought me to work. He was very nice, a little on the strange side, but nice. He brought me to work at 10 o'clock at night, and then he came back at 6 o'clock in the morning, which I anticipated that he might do, because when he left that night, he said, "See you in the morning." And I thought, well, that's kind of weird, but okay. I gave him a fake phone number. And he came back the next day and just pulled up alongside me and said, "Hey, do you want to go to breakfast?" I'm I was very non-confrontational and would rather just say okay instead of getting a fight with the person.
Well,
So
let me just jump in here
said,
because I'm worried we're going to run out of time, and this story is amazing. So we're going to jump ahead just a little bit. Okay. So
Sure, yeah.
Yeah. So you went to breakfast with him. When did something start going wrong?
Well, when I got in the car, he brought up the fake number. We never went to breakfast because then he just slammed my head into the dash, tied my hands up, held a gun to my head. I saw a knife, brought me to the desert. I knew he was going to kill me. He tried to rape me. I tried to get away once. My hands were tied behind my back. I was running through the desert, put me in the trunk. That's when I prayed and I was able to bust free from my binds, and I figured out how to rip the trunk apart and find the lever to unlatch it inside the trunk mechanism, and I escaped, and he chased me down the road with a machete.
Wow. You escaped, and he chased you down the road with a machete. And then did somebody see you and save you? What happened next?
Yeah, a car drove by and they rolled up their windows and went a little bit faster because I looked crazy, and I was trying to jump in their window, but they were scared. Probably because they saw him chasing me, and so they took off. But the next car that was coming towards me was a truck with 2 gentlemen in it, and they saved me. And we tried to chase him, and he got away. Then they brought me to a gas station where we called the police, and it seemed like nobody ever believed me. I mean, they didn't. They tried to tell me other things happened, and I was just so confused.
Well, eventually he was convicted, and
Yeah.
now your story is one that's part of this A&E special. But you've also written this book called "The Girl in the Treehouse." This must be cathartic for you to be able to do that. What made you decide to tell your story?
I had always known since I was little the strange things I had gone through, how I was growing up when I was young with no electricity or running water. I knew my whole life was just different than anybody else's. Then that happened to me, and people wanted to know my story, but I wanted to tell it from the beginning, like how I grew up with a handicapped brother, with an abusive mother, it's a very crazy story. And a lot of people that I talk to just want to hear parts of that because that was so crazy. So I just put it all in this book, and it's called The Girl in the Treehouse because I actually lived in the treehouse in my then boyfriend's backyard. He's now my husband. And that's where I felt safe. And so I went in there, lit some incense, wrote my whole life story, and I got through it all. And it's just really a book about resilience and how a human being can go to the depths of hell and come back and still have a sense of humor and use God, humor, and imagination just to get through anything, really.
Well, I have to say, Jennifer, you definitely are somebody who is a survivor. And if you get a chance, you should go to Jennifer's website. But Jennifer, when can people see the show on A&E?
The show, I think it might be on again. It was on last night at 9:30. And I know if you Google it, it's A&E and it's I Survived a Serial Killer. You could look that up, and there's other ways to get it too. You could stream it through other things too.
Well, it was a pleasure to meet you this morning. And again, Jennifer Asbenson, you are a survivor. If you go to Jennifer's website, she actually has some incredible video, including one demonstrating how to get out of the trunk of a car, which sounds to me like, unfortunately, you found out the hard way, Jennifer, but now you're trying to help others. So thank you so much again for joining me, and best of luck to you.